Welcome to Art Explained, the show where I... Okay, much better. Next time read your notes, camera peasant. Welcome to Art Explained, the show where I explain art. My name is Michelle, and holiday surprises come in all shapes and sizes. I was just minding my own business when I noticed that this little chap moved in. Jonathan, are you there? We'd like to ask you a few questions. While we wait, you may have seen Jonathan Lyons before, but as his alter ego, Buddy the Rat. Buddy has been seen strolling around the Big Apple and traveling on the subway. He recently went viral with a timely caption that read, "Oh, New York City is dead? Explain this." Normally, I would explain this, you rascally TikToking influencer. But this time, I'll let the delightful creature explain for itself. How did you get started as an artist?
Well, I grew up in a really supportive household. My dad was into theater and was a theater maker and wrote musicals, and his main job was as a lounge piano player from Scottsdale, Arizona. So he would play shows all around town and do kids performance shows and things, and I was always performing with them when I was a kid. So when I was 9 years old, I think I did my first play, and then I always was total theater kid, and I just wanted to be an actor and be in plays and musicals, and ended up going to a performing arts high school, charter school in the mid 90s, and then graduated and went to college at Arizona State on an acting scholarship, and then just kept going, moved to New York right after college.
You have a long history as a performer. You were a Blue Man in the Blue Man Group and a puppeteer in several theatrical productions. What inspired you to focus your life on performance art?
When I grew up, I just wanted to be an actor. It was full on actor dream. I want to go to New York. I want to be in movies. I want to do that. And that was what I studied in college. But at the end of college, I had this kind of strange thing happen where I disconnected from narrative human drama, and doing regular kind of traditional acting stopped appealing to me. It didn't feel good to do. I wasn't interested in watching it. I had a little bit of an attitude about it that has totally changed now. But at the time I was I'm not interested. I would say I'm not interested in going to the theater and seeing something that I see all day long, like people talking. I want to go to the theater and see something like Blue Man Group or De La Guardia, Fuerza Bruta, Slava Snow Show, shows where it's a totally different universe from what you're used to, and people are doing extraordinary things that you've never ever seen someone do before. That was what was really turning me on. So at the end of college, I made a conscious choice to step away from traditional narrative acting and into this kind of avant-garde world. I didn't really know what it was, but I got really lucky in getting cast into a company that does this kind of work.
Can you tell me about your short film Rat with Todd Strauss-Schulson and what the creation process was like?
So I've been friends with Todd for 2 years. He met me when I was doing a Basil Twist Symphonie Fantastique in Soho, which is this crazy underwater puppetry show. And Todd, he's a Hollywood film director. He's done big studio pictures like Isn't It Romantic with Rebel Wilson and Harold and Kumar 3. And then in between, he does... Did I lose the pizza? He's made some really amazing indie movies like The Final Girls, but he also makes shorts all the time because he's just a really passionate filmmaker. And we've been friends for 2 years, and about 2 months ago, he reached out. He's like, I'm going to be in New York for 3 weeks in October. I'm bored. We haven't been able to make anything this year. Let's shoot something. And I was like, all right, I have this rat, and I've been wanting to do more with it. And he said, cool, what can it do? And we just talked about all the features of the mask, and I have this girl rat mask, and I have these other things, and he banged out the story, and then we wrote the script ostensibly together and shot it. And it was a total renegade process. It was within maybe a week and a half or under 2 weeks from the kind of meeting where we committed to doing it. Completely off the bed now. From when we committed to doing it to the first night of shooting. So I left from that meeting and I spent every day, I was up till like 3 a.m. building, because I had to make the pizza and I had to make the giant rat trap and I had to make the surgical mask dress and all these props and tune the masks up too, because I've been using the mask to perform, but it has this like eye blinking function and a cigarette smoking function and all these things that I needed to really get together to make the movie happen.
What is your rat head and pizza made of?
The rat head, it's paper mache. So it starts with a clay sculpture that I just sculpt with my hands. You can see like the grooves are finger width, because it's all just very like hands-on kind of sculpt. And then it's grocery store bags, brown paper, paper mache onto it. And then I pull that mold off and then I add in the other features. No, so the pizza is mostly a pizza blanket that I bought on Amazon. They sell these there's like burrito blankets and things. It's basically a photograph of food printed onto fleece. So I bought one of those, and then just different layers of like foam, and there's like packing peanuts and bubble wrap and the stuff. Probably not the best material for it, but I was pretty happy with the result, because it not only looks a lot like a piece of pizza, but it has the same structural integrity of a thin slice of pizza. When you pick it up, it like really does kind of bend the right way. So pretty happy about that.
Where did the idea for Buddy the Rat come from?
That job I mentioned earlier, my first professional job out of college was with a theater company called Imago Theater in Portland, Oregon. And they have a show they've been doing for now almost 40 years, if not more, called Frogs with a Z. And it is literally frogs. The show opens and there's these 3 frogs on the stage staring at the audience. And it's these beautiful paper mache masks and basically leotards. And the performers are just bent into these like really extraordinary creature shapes. And their show, it's all these vignettes of animals. So there's frogs and anteaters and lizards and alligators and penguins and polar bears. And so I worked with that company for 4 years, really learning these extraordinary animal creature performance, mask performance techniques that this company, they're headed by a man named Jerry Mawad, a woman named Carol Triffle. They really pioneered a lot of these techniques that I've been able to kind of build upon for my rat character. And there just was never a rat in any of the shows I did with them. And I had been living in New York for a while at the time, and this was in 2009, and I just was inspired, and I said, I want to make a character. How do I make the mask? And some people, told me what I needed to do.
What does it mean to you to become Buddy the Rat, especially in a place like New York City and during a pandemic?
I can see like why it might be appealing. And I think a big part of it is because our theaters have been shuttered for 9 months, no one has had access to live performance in the way they usually do. And so in the like tradition of street performance is that you disregard the need for a physical space and you bring it out to where people already are. So I think that's a big part of the appeal, that I've come now, I'm giving people a show like in the subway, on their way to work or whatever they're doing, or out in the park, in the street, because we can't go into the theater right now.
Have you had any strange or surprising interactions with people as Buddy the Rat?
Yes, the first night I went out, I ran around Times Square and I kind of squared off with somebody. I can't see much when I'm in the mask. And then we finished up, I heard my friends like howling, and I was like, why, what happened? And they're like, that guy was naked, like almost completely naked. He had like a pouch on, so he wasn't, but it's the most hilarious thing. I put the video on TikTok, and it got kicked off TikTok, and I even got like penalized for a week. Like I couldn't post, even with censored. But it's so funny because all these like national and international news editorials that have happened are using that clip in all the things. So it's like clearly not such a terrible thing.
What projects do you have your sights set on next?
Well, I love that question because I spent the last 4 years working on a project called The Apple Boys. It's a barbershop quartet musical that I wrote with I wrote the book, and the music and lyrics were written by this amazing musical theater composer named Ben Bonema. We had a production off Broadway at Here Art Center in 2018 and got a great review. And we met these producers, and we spent 2019 almost getting an off-Broadway production up and running. And it fell through at the last minute, like a year ago. And we felt like it was a tragedy, like our big dream ended. But the day of our opening night, if that had happened, would have been March 1st, 2020, which means we would have been open for about 10 days before closing. So it was actually totally dodged a bullet. That project, there's also a live performance component where the actual barbershop quartet goes out, shows up in places, sings pop songs, barbershop covers of pop songs. And there's an Instagram and a YouTube, and I've been working at that for years. It just never quite picked up. And now this Buddy the Rat thing has happened, which is like super exciting, but it's really the same model of sort of success that I was anticipating with this other project. So I'm excited because now that there's some attention on me and my work for this rat thing, in a year or so, I'm going to be able to really follow it up with what will appear to be a second act that's actually a far more developed project that's been in the works for a long time.
What advice would you give to aspiring performance artists?
Just do your thing. Do what interests you. When you try to manufacture something and play to some perceived audience that you might have, people pick up on that, and it dilutes the work. Whereas the only thing I can point to the success of this Buddy the Rat thing is that I didn't anticipate it. It wasn't what I was aiming for. It was floating somewhere in the back of my mind. A couple of years ago, I remember thinking, oh, this might go viral, but it was gone from my mind by the time we went out to do this movie. And even now, I'm starting to get advice about the best kind of content to make and this, that. And I feel like I still just need to, I'm just listening to my own instincts and what interests me. And that seems to be resonating with people. So I really do think it's all about what you feel convicted about. That's what's going to be interesting, because no one else can do what you do.
Where can people learn more about you and your works?
Just jonathanlyons.com. And there's a original works page or something that has the Apple Boys website link, and a couple other puppetry projects and things that I've made.
Wow, that was certainly a gay old time. Thank you, Jonathan. And now, as adorable as your little rat-a-boat is, I did not authorize this illegal move-in. Sayonara forever. What can I say? 'Tis the season to be more discerning about your house guests.
Poison. Miss you.
Rat. Thank you for watching Artsplained, and a big thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to press the little bell thingy while you're at it.
I am Jonathan Lyons, and thank you for watching Artsplained.